From afar, it looks like a lush green paradise. But the area around El Teide is a barren volcanic desert. Freezing cold, blistering heat, thin, dry air, and powerful ultraviolet rays are the lot of this volcano. The Mount Teide bugloss can withstand the difficult conditions, growing a tower of red blossom 3 meters high. But it only manages this once in its life. The more flowers, the higher its chance of being pollinated by passing insects. All its energy focused on this one hope of creating the next generation. Far from the mainland, different species developed with very specific abilities. On a rocky outcrop on Tenerife lives one of the most endangered plants on Earth. Lotus maculatus. There are just 11 left in the world. This plant entered into a unique partnership to survive with a reptile. The lizards feed on the plant's blossoms. The sweet nectar of the Lotus maculatus is especially tasty. The secret of the plant's survival? Its pollen is located on the tip of the blossoms. When the lizard stretches for the nectar, pollen is brushed onto its head. The lizard then moves on to the next plant and pollinates it. Without the lizards, Lotus maculatus couldn't reproduce. It would vanish forever. Life on the Canary Islands is dominated by lava and ash. At the foot of the volcanoes is neither water nor fertile earth. And yet a tough fighter survives, the Canary Islands pine. This tree uses a strong taproot to anchor itself to the ground. Additional roots spread out in a wide network to gather nutrients from a broad area. Because the root systems are so expansive, there's plenty of space between the trees. The sparse pine forests around Mount Teide are home to a bird whose origins remain shrouded in mystery. Tenerife blue chaffinch. The plumage of the males is a striking shade of blue. The chaffinches prefer mountainous regions, building their nests in the largest, oldest pines. And they're not the only birds here. These sparse forests are also inhabited by African blue tits and woodpeckers. This young blue tit can already fly, but it still depends on its parents for food. The chaffinches, on the other hand, will breed later in the year. These females still have time for minor disputes. Finally, the moment arrives. Pine cone season. The seeds of the pine trees are rich in protein. The chaffinches have matched their breeding season to the life cycle of the trees. In summer, ripe cones fall to the ground. It's easy for the birds to get to the nourishing seeds. This is the perfect time to rear their young. At heights of 2,000 meters and more, giant Canary Island pines withstand cold, heat, and drought. But living in a volcanic neighborhood can be extremely dangerous. Glowing lava ignites whatever it touches. Volcanic eruptions destroy everything in their path. Fires spread unhindered, scarring the landscape. Once the fire has run its course, the full extent of the destruction becomes apparent. The Canary Island pines are the only life left standing. Their bark protected the sensitive pith. The secret of their survival lies in their needles that burn up fast and then extinguish. The flames have nothing to hold on to in the sparse forest and pass on. Fire brings new colors to the forest. For some plants, fire is a source of life, not death. The ashes leave minerals in the soil that help the plants to germinate. In summer, the cooler, damper Alisio trade wind reaches the northern side of the island. The steep slopes block its progress. Rising air cools and condenses. Thick clouds flow into the parched forests. In places, magical forests have sprung up, a far cry from the arid volcanic desert. Life in here is determined by the clouds. The mist helps lichen, ferns, and moss grow on the trees. Here, the pine needles guarantee the existence of an evergreen paradise. The long, thin needles comb the clouds, creating water drops that fall directly onto the roots.